Hi, I'm Anatole, and this is my reaction video to Narcos Mexico Season 2, Episode 2, titled Alea Lacta Est. It's Latin and it means the die is cast, and it's a historical reference to when Julius Caesar, reading from Wikipedia, Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon River into northern Italy in his campaign against Pompey and the Optimates. And it basically means to take an action you can't come back from. So both of those phrases, the die is cast and crossing the Rubicon, are similar meaning, and they come from that same event. I have to guess then that we are going to have an action that happens that there will be no turning back from, that will change the status quo. So I'm curious what that action is going to be and who it's going to be precipitated by. Is it going to be coming from the DEA agents, or will it come from the Narcos? Well, we'll have to see. Okay, join me after the intro, and I will give you my reaction to Narcos Mexico Season 2, Episode 2, titled Alea Lacta Est. See you in a second. Here we're going to see, are they going to torture him or not? My guess was that we'll get some torture. That's why they set up the first interrogation as being all above board, so that they can contrast that with a later scene where things are opposite.
What do you want to know?
Okay, is he going to play ball, or is this a ruse?
And if I don't, we don't want to hurt you. But we will.
Yeah, there it is. There's the torture.
But I can see that you know nothing.
Interesting. I didn't see that.
You drove to this location without detours. A total driving time of 14 minutes.
He's showing them up.
So, you don't have me. I have you.
So what's the point of torturing him? He's already told them. He told them how the rules of the game are going to go, and he's the one in the power position there, because he knows everything about where he's located, how long it'll take for them to find him. The only choice they have there is kill him or not kill him, but they don't get anything closer to their objective by killing him. So I wonder where this is going to go. All this again feels very Godfather-ish, the way they refer to him as uncle, and they're in there talking about food. Yeah, there's the torture. Spit. Yep. Ooh, with the tooth. That's just for us. They're trying to tell us the stakes. That was all for the audience. Smoking coffee, really?
Opium.
Why are we not surprised? Of course. Yeah, but Miguel is not a man to be trusted. His ambition's too strong. You can turn a blind eye, but we can't help you.
Yeah, so a couple grams of coke costs $400? It's not in today's business. We don't got $400 in the hood, but people still trying to get high.
So it could be crack?
Looks like we have a great opportunity here.
Everyone's trying to cut out the Colombians.
But if you want to try it.
Yes, I want to.
Ooh, there he goes, down the hole.
Así que ninguno de ustedes, hijos de su rechingada madre, saben dónde anda su patrón.
He seems really lost.
Desde anoche.
Yeah, he's got to worry. He's got to worry about being caught with that in his
¿Qué se
warehouse.
te ocurre decírmelo ahorita?
What is it?
Ábrelo, pues. ¡Que lo abras, verga! ¡Que te muevas!
I just work here, guy. You're making me open up the back.
¡Y puto sinaloenses!
Keep cool, man. Keep cool.
Ya, haz lo que tengas que hacer, pero hazlo ya, porque pura madre me regreso a Juárez sin ti. ¿Estamos?
What is this? Feels like we're gonna get a twist here.
Verdine and the good doctor kept jabbing him with adrenaline. Cute trick, right? It's one of hundreds that Verdine knew. And do you know where he learned them?
CIA!
From us.
That's right.
We got so good at it, we started our own special
School
school
of the Americas.
where we could share what we'd learned with our friends down south.
We made our own
Called
worst
it-
enemies.
There we taught some of Latin America's best torturers how to be all they can be.
Right?
But the
Follow the
fucked up
American
thing
dream.
is,
All right, at that point, we're out. It's over for us.
This isn't about us, man.
Good point. It's about justice.
Oh, man, don't do this.
Crossing the Rubicon. Be careful when fighting monsters, lest you become a monster too,
Who's in
Nietzsche.
charge? Huh? Van a dejar la basura como tú en su lugar. Y se van a burlar de ti.
This guy's really good at mind effing. Oh, man. Stuntman paid for that.
¿Qué opinas? Pienso que solo hay una razón para no traer a la compañía.
Ooh, interesting. I thought he was there to make a deal with him, but he's saying you're the reason why we shouldn't make a deal. Huh, I didn't see that. This feels like setup. What's he thinking? Everything is so peaceful right now and tranquil. It feels like setup for a later scene where we get the opposite.
Just give me a name and I will get you some help.
I'll put a bullet in your head to end your misery.
Yo no estoy dispuesto a pagarlo.
Nice lighting, by the way.
Perder el tiempo.
Siéntese.
Remember, he doesn't bargain. He takes what he needs.
¿Qué necesito, ah?
Mi familia es tu familia.
Oh, okay. You shouldn't trust this snake. Don't trust this guy.
Cabrón.
You're not touching it. That should tell you something.
Ay, mira. ¿Qué maneras son esas de hablar con una vieja amiga? Dale, un besito.
She needs him to move her supply. There's gonna be trouble.
Ellos mugrosos. Ramón,
Trouble.
morro.
Something's gonna happen, remember? The die is cast. Something's gonna happen to blow all this up. There it is. Oh, damn. He's coming back to a mess. Is this gonna be the end of the episode? Feels like the closing pan. Where's the tiger? And that's it. Okay, so join me in a second. I'll give you my review of the episode. Welcome back. I only have a few notes, so this should be pretty brief. First thing I want to talk about, and this was commented upon in the Reddit forum for this episode, and that's that the DEA seems to be really sloppy in this scheme they had to kidnap Verdine and torture him because they're not wearing masks, so he's going to know who they are, and they don't kill him, so he can always come back and get revenge on them. And it just seems a little bit, it stretches credulity a little bit. But it was remarked in that Reddit forum, this is early days for the DEA, which began in the early 70s, so it had only been around for 10 years. And they weren't quite as adept at doing this as they may have been in the future, and it's an extra legal process, being vigilantes in Mexico. And I don't think it's any of the people in that had ever conceived of doing an operation like that. So we do see at the end of the episode when they drop Verdine off, they're wearing masks. And it looks like they're going to show the DEA beginning to adapt their methods as the season goes on, as they get a little more polished at it. Verdine is presented as very formidable, and in the scene where he should be the weakest person in the room, he's the strongest. And he closes, that's the very beginning of the episode when they show Verdine tied up, and the DEA come in to look at him for the first time and try to put the screws on him. And you see Verdine saying, "You don't have me, I have you." It's echoes of Rorschach. Rorschach says, "I'm not in here with you, you're trapped here with me." Something that was pointed out in that Reddit forum thread was the difference, the contrast between Don Juan and Miguel. Miguel, we see, holds a birthday party, and all the sycophants and employees come to pay tribute to him. But when he returns from his trip at the end of this episode, it's to a dark and empty mansion. The only person there is his house servant. But Don Juan has a whole village that is there for him as part of his support network, including his family. And that's another thing that Don Juan points out. You don't see the measure of a man by what he succeeded at. You see the measure of a man by the friends who are around him. And who are your friends? And the answer is no one is Miguel's friends, because he's backstabbed them all. There's a scene in the episode where Don Juan takes Miguel to the river that's at the border between Mexico and America, and he talks about how for decades him and his family have gotten rich by catering to the needs of the Americans, smuggling everything from opium to people to coffee. And the greater point there, and it's something I've been watching a few interviews that Diego Luna has done for the series Narcos, and it's something that Diego Luna has talked about, and that is there's always all this emphasis on stopping the source, but as long as there is a need, there will be a source. People will find a way to supply the need, and that's part of the reason for that speech that Don Juan gives at the river about all these things, the commodities that have changed over the years, but the one thing that's constant is that they are supplying a need. As long as there is a need, there will be criminals trying to make a profit off of that need. Migos is in the episode, and I didn't recognize them, so you may have been shouting at your screen, "Don't you know who that is? It's Migos." I'm aware of the band. I've listened to a couple of their songs, but because I'm not so familiar when they were in the episode, I wasn't drawn out. And a lot of people are pointing out, "Oh, they didn't dress that way in the 80s, and it's so distracting, and they don't fit." Well, I didn't recognize them, and they didn't stand out for me. I was around in the 1980s, and their dress was not typical of the decade, but it didn't stand out enough that it took me out of the realism. The only thing that would have taken me out is if I had recognized them as the rap band. And then the last thing I wanted to point out, the actor playing Don Juan, that actor was Jesus Ochoa, and the real character is Juan Nepomuceno Guerra, and I'm saying Don Juan because he's the head, therefore Don Juan. Okay, so that's why I'm confused about that. Anyways, that scene where they're at the campfire, and Don Juan talks about how he's not going to go into business with Felix. When he's saying the most forceful words, the words that are, "We're not going to be in business together," he says them in a whisper instead of shouting. And I really love that decision to go opposite, because sometimes the most powerful things are the ones that we say with the least force. And that's it. Okay, so thank you for joining me for my reaction and review of Narcos Mexico Season 2, episode number 2 titled Alea Lacta Est. Thank you for putting up with my terrible Spanish. Until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.